Views and opinions expressed by the hosts and their guests are solely that of their own and do not reflect the opinions of any employer. Listener discretion is advised. What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I'm your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivanshi, and we are here with the Newsreader Season 2, Episode 4, titled, that's titled The Hungry Truth. Oh my God. Oh, okay, listen. I think the first and last time I showed like real emotion on this podcast was when I first was conceptualizing my podcast, and it wasn't even about film, TV, or whatever. And I was in the middle of talking about something very important, very personal, and like in the middle of the podcast episode, I just like started crying. Okay. It's not my period. It's not anything. This episode, the writer of this episode is Adrian Russell Wills. And like, do you hate us? Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Do I cut this? Do I like scrap this whole episode? Okay. Okay. The director of this episode is Freeman. The director of photography is Earle Dresner. Oh, I'm getting so emotional. I'm emotional because Sam Reid and Anna Torv. Oh my God. Like the ending of this episode, I don't even know what's happening to me. I don't know what's happening to me right now. The ending of this episode is so sad. Oh my God. Like the acting, like when a performer can just move you so much. I can't. What the fuck? Okay, so let me just get this out of the way since my eyes won't start, like, they won't stop spontaneously combusting. No, I can't talk about that first. Okay. So the umbrella of this episode, then I don't know what's happening to me, guys. I had a great day. It's incredible. Like, I am not like sad. This episode is one of the saddest things I've seen. Oh my God. Is this how everybody in Australia felt? Oh my God. This is crazy. Okay. Let's try to get it together. Okay, so the blanket of this episode is the Princess Diana news, the royal news that she and Prince Charles are on the fritz. So that's like the blanket of everything you already know. Each episode has like a major news story, and then there's everything else that's happening underneath. Now it opens up with Dale dancing so horribly. And I was cracking up because I'm like, the Vampire Lestat promo and everything is out. I was at Comic-Con. I got to see the teaser. Got to, move my own body to Sam Reid in real life. And to see him as Lestat, like knowing how to move his body in tune with every vertebrae of his spine, and then watching Dale, it was the funniest shit ever. Like, it's crazy. I don't even know, why did y'all open this episode? He like the fucking mess. He like the fucking mess. And then also like the costuming on Dale. In season 1, if you watch my season 1 review, and we talked about how like his costuming has changed, how things went from like being like super big, like he's hiding in his clothes, to kind of getting something like more form fitting. But Dale is kind of regressing a little bit in how he presents himself, because he's moving into like a new vulnerable phase with his relationship with Helen. And so even though he's speaking good at the news at 6, he's speaking up. Everything's not like form fitted anymore. Like Jerry has clocked him, and bisexuality is coming up again within his own relationship. And so I feel like with the costuming department at the end of season 1 of the Newsreader, we're seeing like Adele be confident, he's standing tall, his outfits are a little bit more tailored. And now in episode 4, we're seeing that clunky walk again, the bigger pants a little bit, that oversized jacket and stuff like that. Like it feels like Dale is fighting to stay out, but everything in him is like trying to hide, subconsciously and consciously. And it's definitely showing up in the costuming. The costuming is so important on the show, but especially with a character like him who's so insecure and who is so desperately seeking the approval of everybody else, right? Especially Helen. So this episode, while that is like a blanket theme with Princess Diana and, you know, that whole opening scene was like super funny. Another thing that's making me super emotional is because this episode talks about the Aborigines and the murder and the occupancy of the colonizers who came 200 years prior to 1987 and killed them and slaughtered them and took over the land. And they celebrate, you know, with these ships every year. Hello, 4th of July. They celebrate with these ships every year. And the celebration is a slap in the face of the very people who already lived there and owned the land. Like they already existed on the land. And like obviously I don't have to tell y'all why that made me emotional. Oh my god. This is a tough episode. I did not see this coming. It's emotional because okay, I'm not gonna apologize for having feelings because, you know, Black people, especially Black women, we're always like trying to hold it in, be strong and everything like that. But it's emotional because you look at the world now and it's like you we're living in a time where we've experienced progress, we've experienced loss with our families. And, you know, we know the stories of our families just fighting to live, fighting to be seen as human beings, um, fighting to get, you know, health care, to be heard. And you think like, okay, oh, you know, the civil rights era and all these other things like that happened. Then our family members, our ancestors died so that we can have a better life. And as you're living in like the age of like progression and a new type of evolution with technology and everything like that, it's like we're living in a suspended state and we're watching time just go backwards. Um, and so with this episode, it's like the same thing. They're fighting to be heard, and Geoff, the character, gets on TV and he's like, well, you know, he's half Aborigine anyway. He's half white. The real Aborigines, the real voices, the real this. And it really goes to show you like how news can shape media and silence your voice and just like trample all over you and try to erase you and publicly gaslight you and empower the ignorant to continue to like trample all over you and to silence your voice. And then you have people like Rob being like, oh, well, you know, it was 200 years ago, get over it. And I love that he said that, and Noelene is questioning her relationship with him because she's like, you sitting over here talking about you got these Aborigine friends, but I've never heard of them. You don't catch up with them. You only hang out with white people. And why are you sitting over here saying like, oh, well, how does this guy Lioness try to fight today for something that happened 200 years ago? This didn't happen to him. But what he says in his interview is, I'm tired of burying my family. every time somebody in my family dies before they're supposed to, it's a huge loss, and it's a loss of voice, it's a loss of people understanding, and it's an erasure of history. um and so just really loved how this episode really challenges Noelene and Rob. And I even mentioned in the last recap how Noelene doesn't even want to talk about her relationship and tell people about it because of all of the things that she already faces as an Australian born Korean whose family wants her to still fall under Korean traditions. Her family didn't even tell her family that's in Korea that she's dating a white man. She's already kind of like feeling those things. And so when you just look at what it feels like to be oppressed and to be woman and having all these things against you and people undermining you and basing your identity on the man that you're with, as he's saying these things and he openly is like, well, I'm not racist, but now she's like looking at him, and I really enjoy that this storyline is coming up for them because it's just like so much gaslighting and so many different things, and it's just like all you have to do, like you want us to say like it's 200 years ago, it's 300 years ago or whatever, get over it. Then get over your elitism, get over your supremacy, get over your colonization, get over the institutionalized racism. Allow people of color, Black, Aborigine, Indian, Korean, Chinese, Vietnamese to be at the top, to have Lindsay's position, to have Charlie's position. But even Dennis said in a previous episode, um, nobody's gonna hire him to have that. But you're working in a space where people like to say, oh, well, I'm not racist. And so this episode just kind of coupled with everything that's going on today, um, and just good acting, it's affecting me a lot. It's affecting me a lot. And I love Linus, who is the younger generation of Aborigine. He is Aborigine and he's Irish. And so he represents like the anger and just being fed up. And his uncle, um, they kind of like represent two sides of the same coin. So while he's like, listen, I'm going to allow our anger to be seen because where has democracy and where has playing the white man's game led us? Meanwhile, Unc is like, hey, you got to meet white people on that level because if you come in with emotion, then they're not going to listen to you. And Line is just like, we are allowed to have emotion. Another thing that I also love is that they uh, recognize and celebrate the Blackness within their indigenous culture and within their identity. I've said this before, I've always wanted to go to Australia, and watching this show has opened my eyes up to like the rest of Australia and the history of Australia. And I don't know, man, this episode just like cracked something open. Like I've been laughing all day. I've been reading all day, regular books, fanfics. I've been watching true crime. Like I've been having a grand time, and I sat down to watch this episode so that I can come and talk to y'all. And I got to the end of the episode and I genuinely was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit down and talk about it because as you can see, whew, I want to turn this camera off so fucking bad right now. As you can see, these are just, I don't know, it just knocked on the door of things that I've been trying not to acknowledge. Um, yes, I've just been living in a bubble, just living in peace and just all these other things and just trying to like be the change that I want to see. I've always been that person. Like if I don't like something, then I'll just go do it. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing it by myself. It doesn't matter if I'm the only one in the room. Uh, I'd rather take the hard road and make it easy for everybody else. I've just always been that way. Um, but this episode just forced me to be like, I don't like what's going on, and I wish the world was better. Like my personal life, like everything is like good, you know, career wise and everything like that. But I'm such like a world thinker. I think all the time. I want to help people all the time. I want to be as kind as I can be. I'm just human, you know what I mean? Um, we're always better, you know, tomorrow than we are today, and we can never fix yesterday. So it's like achieving being the perfect person, being the kindest person is never attainable, but it's something that I always like to think about is, you know, can I be my kindest self today, even though I know I'm going to be my kindest self tomorrow? But this episode, you know, forced me to sit and be like, it's okay that you don't like what you see and you don't like people hurting around you and you don't like destruction and division and you don't like voices being silent. Anybody that knows me personally who's watching this, like they know like how I feel about phobias, how I feel about bullying, how I feel like I felt that way my whole life. Um, so yeah, we're trying to power through it. To my wife, if she's watching, I know she's probably gonna like be blowing up my phone. Y'all are watching this, but as she's watching this with y'all, I already know she's gonna be in my phone, making sure that okay. I'm okay. Promise. Um, this episode just whoo. Oh my god, not even done. Um, one of the things that Linus says, he says, I'm done waiting for a chair at their table for democracy. And I think that's really when I knew this episode like was gonna break me. Um, that's its climate in 1987. It's 2025, and like that is a sentiment. So I want to pause right here and I want to talk a little bit about the history of what was going on in 1987 with the Aborigine people in Australia. In case y'all don't know, y'all probably don't because I'm American. Most of the people that watch me, they're actually American and British. That's crazy. And some Canadians. Shout out to y'all. Hello. But yeah, in 1987, the lives of Aboriginal Australians were marked by significant events related to the deaths in custody, social justice, and cultural heritage. A royal commission was established to investigate Aboriginal deaths in custody, spurred by public concern. Additionally, the Brewerina riot highlighted tensions and racial issues, and an inquest into the deaths of two Aboriginal girls near Burke brought attention to discrimination and justice concerns. Um, so looking into the rest of it, some things kind of was like stirring up in August of 1987. This episode is in December, so the energy and the fire behind the Aborigine people was kind of already brewing at this point in time. So they're bringing something that's happening in real life, like they've done in season 1 and like they've done with every episode. They're bringing historical context into a fictional adaptation of how news station handle these events. Um, let's see. So the Aboriginal Heritage Bill ended up being passed in 1987. This bill, introduced in South Australia, aimed to protect Aboriginal heritage sites and objects while also acknowledging the need for consultation with Aboriginal people on matters related to their heritage. So I said, I think when I did the premiere of the first 2 episodes on for season 2 is, you know, now when you listen to a lot of like Australian media, if you're watching TV, they have a canned statement about recognizing that they're on occupied lands owned by the Aborigine people. And so this is kind of like where that all stems from. And again, I love it. It makes me want to go to Australia even more. Um, yeah. Try not to look into my viewfinder thingy because I know I look a mess. I know I look a mess. But just wanted to kind of give some history behind that. So you know like why that's like super emotional for me. I'm not Aborigine. I'm not from Australia, but I can relate to the pain. I can relate to wanting justice and to just be seen as a human being. And just with anybody that's ever been oppressed, like I just don't understand why there's any division between us when we're all wanting the same thing. But you know, whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. This is about film and TV. Like, no one knows that stuff. It's crazy. I'm gonna have like a good cry after this. I am a mess. Anyways, so like that. Now, Helen eventually gets an interview with Lioness, and I thought this was really good because he gets on there and he's like spitting these stats. He's spitting all these other things. And then Helen stops the interview and she's like, listen, I know that you could be you and that you could connect with people. So like, just tell people how you feel. And in this moment, I was just like, Helen. So the same coldness, the same stats and, getting to the point and getting to the data that you be spitting out that everybody keeps telling you like, hey, dial it back in. I like that Helen was able to give feedback and mentorship in a moment where she recognized emotionally and socially it was needed for the audience to be able to listen to the messaging. Really wish she would apply this to herself. It seems like this is a hindsight thing that she does when Dale like brings it to her, or after she's blaming Dale for whatever the fuck, or arguing with him about something. So this definitely shows like a growth in her character in getting him to just speak as a human being, because at the end of the day, regardless of ethnicity or whatever, him appealing to the mass audience as a human would be taken in more than just talking about how your people are killed, because the vast audience, which is white people, they're not going to be able to relate to that. They're going to turn the channel, because if it doesn't affect their immediate family, white people just ain't gonna listen. Like, that's just, it is what it is. As a group, as a whole, as a community of whites, if it doesn't happen in your household, you're not paying attention. You're changing the channel. You're not rioting until your daughter Sarah actually got hurt or harmed by something. And so Helen recognizes this and she says, let's take the stats surrounding the race out of it and just talk about how you and your family and your cousins and your people are impacted on an emotional level. Because everybody, we're all made up, like the human body. You want to know how you can tell the difference between human remains and animal remains? Because we're made up of the same fucking like elements on the periodic table. Like, it just is what it is. There's smaller components that differentiate us with ethnic background and regional background, or if we're a man or a woman, but like 98%, 99% of our body composition that makes us human is the same. And so she's telling Lioness, speak to them on that level, human to human, pain to pain, fear to fear, because that will appeal to more people. And she was right. However, I don't know what the fuck happened at that news station, but they canned the story. And this is where you really get to see like the ugly behind news stations. And I love that this show just really, I said it in season 1, I love that they're giving you the behind the scenes of how things go, because it was literally live on air where they canned everything that she did, the messaging, the interview, all of it, and then just rolled into something else. And she, in between, 30-second breaks, 20-second breaks, she's trying to figure out like what's going on. But nobody's answering her. And then it's like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and she has to put back on a fucking smile. And then at the end of all of these things, after pushing to try to get the voices heard for the people, it's that stupid fuck ass video that they were recording at the beginning of this episode. And so Helen is pissed. They going back home to Dale's house. Dale has been wanting to propose to this lady for a while now. Okay, he got his grandmama's ring. But Helen is like super riled up, and Dale is like, baby girl, don't go into this house. Just like, give me a moment. But Helen's like, what are you talking about, bro? She barges into the house. So at this point, Dale's like, all right, fuck it. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. And he proposes, y'all. She says no. The final shot of them, she's like, I love you so much, but I cannot. And he's like, it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's okay. And she ends up leaving, and his whole face changes. And it's just him sitting on the floor, just like crumpled and defeated. in all of these beautiful LED lights that he had strung up around the house. His mama done helped him put everything together. And it's like, Dale, no matter what Helen throws at him, he's there. He's committed every time. Even when she's like erroneously mad at him about some shit that she needs to be yelling at Lindsay about, or Charlie about, or just anybody else about. He's there. He's rocking with her. He told her, you are the only person who knows all of me. And she still said no. I think she said no because Tim is back, y'all. She's seen Tim and she knows how Dale felt about Tim. And like I said last episode, no, episode 1 and 2, because they premiered together. So like I said in that, there is such an insecurity clouding her in that she believes that Dale will never want to only settle for her. Even though they had an explicit and exclusive conversation that they don't want anybody else in the relationship and they only want each other. I think that her fear of being with a bisexual man is in the way. And instead of talking to him about it, she's closing off and shutting down, which is pissing me off because she told him, oh, just as long, I want to keep having these conversations. I want to still be here. I only want to be with you. You said you don't want to be with me. Let's keep talking. Okay. Well, he's telling you he wants to be with you forever. And then you shut down and you run away. I don't like this for Dale. Y'all know how I feel about Dale. That's like my baby. That's my baby. I love Dale so much. But beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shot at the end. I knew she was gonna say no, but like after the emotional turmoil that I went through, I was hoping for a yes, but then like episode 5, she realized she made a mistake. But of course, good old writer Adrian Russell Will said, fuck no. We only get 6 episodes a season. Break their fucking hearts. And so there's that. They broke our hearts, guys. They broke our hearts. The Newsreader season 2, episode 4, The Hungry Truth. I said I wasn't going to apologize for being emotional, and I'm not. If you finished watching, if it wasn't cringe, I don't even like watching stuff when people be crying. It's a cringe to me. I don't do well when people cry at all. Like, I do not do well. Like, you start crying, I'm going to give you a tissue, and I'm going to just go mute until you're done. And so how I feel and the things that go in my head when I start crying, I'm not even going to tell y'all what I was thinking in my head as I continue to push through and speak to you for this recap and for this review. Like, I think my therapist appointment is in a couple of weeks, so we'll talk about my relationship with displaying tears. My thoughts. Helen and Dale are taking me on a roller coaster ride because they are so domestic and it's so beautiful. And yet, here we are. And it pains me so much. They'll get it together, maybe. I don't know, man. It's harmful. It's tragic. Somebody said today on Twitter, they asked a question, they were like, comedy, they were like, for the rest of your life, like comedy or drama, like which one are you consuming? And I said, I'm consuming drama because I can find something funny in drama, but comedies aren't always funny to me. And this is one of those scenarios. Like, there was some super funny shit that was happening in this episode, but also, as you can see, it broke me all the way down. And the balance of comedy and drama. I know why this is not a dramedy, but the outrageousness of the time period and the things that people say and the stuff that's going on, coupled with infusing the real life situations and historical factors surrounding the timeline. Oh my God, it's just beautiful. Like, what the fuck? Like, who thinks of this? Like, damn, this is just a beautiful show. I know, I see exactly why I got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, this is incredible. Like, if you're an American watching this, like, go watch the show. Like, stop, thinking you funny, making fun of accents, and I gotta look up subtitles and stuff like that. Like, these international shows, I promise you, the writing, the acting is insane. It's next level. These people come from theater. These people are getting it out of the mud. Okay. I constantly talk about how I don't like that American TV and film and Hollywood and that whole Hollywood industry is like the mecca of making it, because in these countries and on their own televisions, like, they made it. And they shouldn't need like American validation in order to say that they made it. Americans should just simply be able to consume the media and recognize the genius and the greatness for which it is. And the Newsreader is an incredible show. Like, Sam Reid aside, it could have been anybody else. Name a great actor, a great stage actor. Incredible, incredible show. Love the indigenous people, love how it was brought in. As you could tell, there were tears of sadness, but it was definitely tears of joy too. It just, when shows don't gloss over, like, I was watching this podcast, and they were talking about Interview with the Vampire. um 3 Black people, but like one dude watched the show, and he said that he brought up how in a lot of like sci-fi or fantasy and supernatural, whenever it involves Black people or storylines of Black people and people of color, they try to gloss over the historical context of how they fit into that time period. And he liked how um Interview with the Vampire didn't ignore Louis being a Black man in the Jim Crow South dating a white man. And he loved how they infused it in there without sacrificing the history and without sacrificing the fantasy of it. And so I love this in this episode, that how they are including the historical aspect of the Aborigine and them being the indigenous people of Australia, and not glossing over what actually occurred in that country during that time while delivering a fictional story. There's just a way to marry that beautifully. And the way that you marry it is to face it head on. It's history. It's history. You can take it away from books. You can tell your kids, oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, it was 200 years ago. But to the people that it happened to, it will be forever. It is today. It's 200 years ago. It's today. It is 200 years from now. Um, and so to face it head on, in these shows, in bringing it together and moving that forward, it allows people like me who are kind of familiar, but want to know more. It makes me look even further into it. It gives me a deeper respect for the people, a deeper respect for the culture, and it allows me to just be more educated for when I visit these places, so that I'm not offending a culture or offending like a country by being ignorant. The internet is here. The internet is free. I don't have to be ignorant. It's a choice to be ignorant. It's a choice to not look into these things. And so I just love this episode. I don't know what goes on in season 3. I don't even know what's going on in the next 2 episodes. I love this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes of TV. Chef's kiss. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it on some light things. This was the episode. If you look up like the Newsreader on a GIF on like Twitter or something, you're gonna see like Sam Reid in the mirror making these faces and shit. So this was the episode of that infamous GIF with him in the black tux, and he's making those gifts, and then just ultimately like Hannah Torv is absolutely Hannah Torv. Not me combining Helen and Anna. Anna Torv is absolutely beautiful. And fun fact, in case you didn't know, when she was in school, she was in a band called Sly Days. And I just wanted to mention that because when she first went to Linus, he's a disc jockey, okay? And he's like, dance with me. And so she's on beat and everything. And somebody might be like, oh, okay, like she on beat. My baby girl got that talent. She got that musical ear. And yeah, she was just gorgeous. She was just beautiful. In that moment, in that scene, I literally just went and Googled when she was in the band, and just like, she has not aged. Like, at all. And so to be an incredible, like, well-rounded artist, um, what a cast, man. What a cast. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, we're just gonna end like all the tears and everything and just say like Anna Torv is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, amazing actress. Um Again, the acting in this episode, oh my lord, my lord. Listen, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real, bro. The last time white people made me cry like this was when Rose left Jack in the fucking Atlantic Ocean when she could have scooted her bitch ass over on that dresser, yo. Like, I'm just being real. Like, ultimately, you know, you connect with who you share experiences with. Viola Davis can get me to cry at the drop of a dime. Can. Um, Alfred Woodard, Ving Rhames, Angela Bassett, Denzel Washington, they can give me the cry. Kerry Washington give me a cry dropping it down. Last time I cried over two white characters, Titanic. Like, it just was what it was. So Sam Reid and Anna Torv in this episode with that proposal, bruh. Just rewind this episode. I'm not gonna relive it. I'm not about to cry again. I think I'm all cried out. Man, powerful. Just the power of performance, man. Power of performance. Like, jokes aside, ethnicity aside, like, what an episode. What a story. What a story. What a connection. Like, I cannot stress enough. Watch this show and, you know, respect the workers and respect the artists, because that's what they all are, from the lighting person to craft services to the actors to the director to the producer. They're all artists. Respect what they do. Every single one of them has a piece of the mechanism that brings the entire story together. um and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Just, you know, real life fucking sucks, and we need to go somewhere to escape, even if our escapes end up forcing us to face real feelings, you know. um, they're putting their own emotions, their mental health, their physical health, their time with their families, their time with themselves, they're giving that all up. They're sacrificing that to tell us stories, to move us, to make us feel, to make us laugh, to make us hurt, to make us question, to make us think. Um, and that should be cherished always. And yeah, with that, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments in the comments box below. If you got people that only want to listen to me sniffling this whole episode, you can share the Spotify and the Apple Podcast link. You can also find me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I get film and TV news and updates. You can find me on Twitter, where I do short form reviews and content for shows that I do not do on this channel at Givenchy. And of course, you can find me on Twitter talking my shit all the time, randomly, about any and everything film and TV, and just random intrusive thoughts in between at Givenchy. And with that, I will catch y'all in the next episode.